Age gap relationships, they're nothing new. But if you've ever heard the story of Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte, you know this is a whole different league. A 24-year age difference alone would make people pause. But what turns heads is how it all began. He was just 16. She was his drama and literature teacher. And, wait for it, her daughter was his classmate. Let's rewind to the early 90s, northern France, a sleepy town called Amiens. Emmanuel, a precocious, highly ambitious teenager, sat in the classroom at La Providence, a Catholic school. Brigitte, then 40 years old, was not just a teacher. She was a charismatic figure, married for 20 years, a mother of 3, and by all accounts, a pillar of local respectability. But underneath the routines of school life, a connection was forming, an unusual one. It all started with a school play, The Art of Comedy by Italian playwright Edoardo De Filippo. On Friday evenings, Emmanuel and Brigitte rehearsed lines late into the night, swapping scripts, stories, maybe secrets.
It seemed we'd always known each other.
For him, it was exhilarating. For Brigitte,
she said it was like working with Mozart. He wasn't just smart, he was intense, driven, far beyond his years. We worked very well together.
People began to notice. At first, it seemed harmless, just a student and teacher working closely, right? But as rehearsals grew longer, and Emmanuel and Brigitte seemed lost in private conversation, lips started to wag in their small town. The rumors intensified the night they were spotted in a restaurant, sharing what witnesses politely described as a tender moment. In a place where everyone knew everyone else, gossip spread like wildfire. When Emmanuel's parents got wind of the situation, their first assumption was more plausible. They guessed he must be dating Brigitte's daughter, Laurence. After all, that would make sense. But when the truth came out, shock doesn't even begin to cover it. "We couldn't believe it," his mother would later recall. She described feeling as though her world had been turned upside down. Concerned for their son, they acted fast, packing him off to an elite boarding school in Paris, hoping distance and immersion in a new social world would weaken this forbidden bond. Brigitte, well aware of the scandal swirling around her, also took a step back. She'd been a wife and mother for decades. The idea that her youngest student could rewrite the course of her life was both electrifying and terrifying. "For me, such a young boy was crippling," she later admitted, torn between powerful feelings and the reality of her life. A husband, children, a community watching closely. But the story didn't end with a transfer slip and a change of address. Emmanuel was relentless. From Paris, he called, wrote, and insisted he would marry her one day. Most teenagers stress about exams. He was making lifelong promises. As one biographer put it, he refused to let go. Brigitte, meanwhile, tried to be cautious. For 10 years, she remained in her marriage, stayed in contact with Emmanuel, and quietly shielded her children from the drama playing out beneath their roof. Eventually, it caught up to them. Brigitte's marriage ended. Her ex-husband left the family home, and by the early 2000s, with her children now adults, she felt free to choose her path. In 2007, Brigitte and Emmanuel were married. She was 54, he was 29. The ceremony took place in the seaside town of Le Touquet, where she'd first wed decades earlier.
If I hadn't made that choice, I would have missed out on my life.
Imagine, for a moment, being one of Brigitte's children. One day, your mother is a respected teacher, married to your father. The next, she's in a relationship with your one-time classmate. It wasn't easy. Her youngest daughter, Thephane, has described how, even before social media, a scandal in a small town travels fast. "We had to move forward, ignoring attacks, rumors. Everything was known." When her father left, the pain of family separation hit hard, but she also spoke of finding strength, of growing closer to both her father and stepfather in the aftermath.
He wasn't a teenager. He had a relationship of equals with adults.
Well, technically, he was, but hers is a love story that doesn't fit easy categories. And Emmanuel? He never wavered. As his political career took off, she stood by him through every campaign. Each time he'd thank her in public.
"She's always there, without whom I wouldn't be me."
When Emmanuel Macron became France's youngest president in 2017, at 39, the same age Brigitte had been when they met, their story was suddenly front-page news worldwide. Critics raised eyebrows. Supporters applauded their persistence. And through it all, they remained committed, each to the other. They never had children together, but today, Emmanuel is stepfather to Brigitte's 3 grown kids and step-grandfather to her 7 grandchildren, leaping a few rungs up the family tree in record time. Decades later, after the whispers in tabloids, the marriages and campaigns, their relationship stands as one of the most unusual in public life, equal parts scandal, romance, and endurance. So what do you think? Is this an extraordinary love story, or one that still raises questions?